January 1944. Over the Reich, the Luftwaffe still ruled supreme. Messerschmitt Bf-109 G6s with GM1 nitrous boost and Focke-Wulf Fw-190A8s armed with 4 20mm MG 151R20 cannons climbed effortlessly to 30,000 feet, their pilots confident in machines honed by 5 years of combat and their own hard-earned experience. American heavy bombers came in broad daylight, B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators, flying in tight combat boxes of 18 or 36 aircraft, gunners scanning the sky through frost-rimmed windows, turned .50 caliber barrels tracking contrails. German fighters waited high above, engines throttled back to loiter on the edge of contrail altitude, watching for the perfect moment to dive. The escorts were P-47 Thunderbolts and P-38 Lightnings, solid aircraft but limited by range. External drop tanks, 75-gallon or 110-gallon, gave them reach to the German border, perhaps to the Rhine on a good day with tailwinds. Then they turned back. Beyond that invisible line, the bombers flew alone into what German pilots called der Jägerfreie Raum, the hunter-free zone. They attacked at will, head-on passes at 600 mph closing speed, 30 mm Mk-8 cannons ripping through aluminum skin-like paper, wings folding under the impact, fuel tanks igniting in orange fireballs, crews bailing out into -50-degree air. On January 11, 1944, the 8th Air Force dispatched 663 bombers to strike aircraft factories at Oschersleben, Halberstadt, and Brunswick. Escorts turned back at the Rhine. German controllers scrambled over 400 interceptors from JG-1, JG-3, JG-26, and JG-11. By the time the bomber stream reached the target area, 60 fortresses were already gone, spiraling earthward in flames, some with wings sheared off, others trailing black smoke. Another 30 limped home, only to crash on English soil. Undercarriage collapsed, crews carried out on stretchers. Major Günther Roll, commanding JG-11 with 275 victories, wrote in his logbook that night, "We pick our targets like ripe fruit from a tree. The escorts vanish at the border, and the sky is ours again. The Americans cannot sustain these losses much longer. Another 6 months and daylight bombing ends." No one in Berlin imagined the fruit was about to grow wings and teeth sharp enough to bite back. The P-51 Mustang began life as a British emergency in 1940. The RAF needed a modern fighter, fast, agile, long-range. North American aviation president Dutch Kindelberger promised a prototype in 100 days. They delivered the NA-73X in 102 aluminum skin, laminar flow wing, Allison V1710 engine. Early models were excellent at low altitude, but above 15,000 feet, the Allison gasped power fell off, supercharger inefficient. Then came the Merlin. Packard built the Rolls-Royce Merlin 61 under license, added a 2-stage, 2-speed supercharger with intercooler. Suddenly, the Mustang breathed thin air like a mountain goat. At 25,000 feet, it cruised at 440 mph faster than any operational German fighter. With 2 75-gallon drop tanks under the wings, range stretched to 1,650 miles, Berlin and back with fuel left to fight. Add 2 110-gallon tanks, and the P-51B could reach Poznan and return. First combat mission, December 13, 1943. The 354th Fighter Group, the Pioneer Mustang Group, flew from Boxted, England, escorting B-17s to Kiel. German pilots saw the sleek silver escorts with bubble canopies and dismissed them, another short-range fighter surely. They climbed to intercept at 28,000 feet, confident in their altitude advantage. The Mustangs kept climbing, 29,000, 30,000, 32,000. German DB-605 engines strained, superchargers whining, manifolds glowing red. The P-51s leveled off, still accelerating, laminar flow wings slicing the air with minimal drag, Merlin engines purring at 3,000 RPM. A swarm of 4 Bf-109 G6s dove to attack the bomber stream. The Mustangs followed not in defense, but in pursuit. Closing speed, 100 MAF advantage. German pilots glanced back and saw silver arrows gaining fast, bubble canopies glinting in the sun, 4 50-caliber Browning M2 machine guns in each wing, 6 in total, 1,800 rounds per minute. One radio call summed up the shock. Achtung! Amerikanische Jäger hinter uns, schneller als wir. Sie holen auf. Abwehrformation. German fighter doctrine was built on altitude, energy, and the hit and run. Climb high, spot the enemy, dive through at maximum speed, 500 malams or more, fire a short burst, extend away at full throttle, climb again for the next pass. It worked perfectly against P-47s that couldn't follow above 25,000 feet and P-38s that struggled in the cold with compressor issues. The P-51 changed the equation completely. It could climb with the 109 to 35,000 feet, out-accelerate the 190 in the dive thanks to its clean aerodynamics, and turn tighter at high speed due to its low wing loading 65 pounds per square foot versus 45 for the 109. Energy was now on the American side in Energy Wins dogfights. On February 20th, 1944, first day of Big Week, over 1,000 bombers struck aircraft factories at Leipzig, Bernburg, Tutau, and Rostock, escorted by 16 fighter groups, including 11 P-51 units from the 354th, 357th, and 4th Fighter Groups. German controllers scrambled everything: JG-2, JG-26, JG-300, ZG-26 over 900 intercepts. The sky became a maelstrom of contrails, crisscrossing from 20,000 to 40,000 feet. P-51s ranged ahead under Doolittle's new orders, not tied to bomber boxes. They hunted. A staffel of Fw-190s forming up near Leipzig, never saw the Mustangs above at 33,000 feet. Captain Chuck Yeager led the attack. 4 minutes later, 11 burned on the ground, pilots running for cover as 50-caliber rounds stitched fuel tanks. German pilots radioed confusion and panic. They are everywhere, faster in climb, faster in dive. We cannot disengage. They follow us down to the deck, then climb away before we can turn. By day's end, the Luftwaffe lost 74 fighters, confirmed many to P-51s. The Americans lost 21 bombers, the lowest ratio of the campaign so far. The mathematics had reversed. Jimmy Doolittle's directive was revolutionary. The first duty of 8th Air Force fighters is to destroy German fighters in the air and on the ground. Protection of bombers is secondary. P-51 pilots flew loose, fluid 2-ship and 4-ship formations, lead and wingman, 300 yards apart, weaving gently. No more tight escort. They swept ahead 100 miles forward, 50 miles to each side, actively seeking targets. When bombers turned for home, the fighters stayed, strafing airfields, locomotive yards, fuel depots, even canals. German pilots landed to refuel and found Mustangs already overhead, 50 calibers stitching runways, exploding parked aircraft. One Gruppe at Achmer lost 22 aircraft on the ground in 10 minutes, parked wingtip to wingtip, easy targets. Another at Twente saw 15 destroyed before mechanics could scatter. The experienced pilots men with 50, 100, even 200 victories died fastest. They led from the front, tried to protect new pilots with barely 50 hours total flight time, many fresh from flight school, unable to dogfight. The P-51s picked them off with boom and zoom attacks, dive from 5,000 feet above, fire a 2-second burst, climb away at 400 mm. By March, the Kiel ratio had flipped completely. In 1943, German fighters claimed 1.2 bombers per loss. In March 1944, P-51s claimed 4 German fighters per American fighter lost and 7.1 in some engagements. The 4th Fighter Group alone claimed 100 kills in March. A young German pilot wrote home from Juvincourt, "We take off knowing we may not return. The Mustangs wait at altitude. We climb, they dive. We dive, they follow. There is no safe altitude, no safe speed. They are always faster, always higher, always behind us. By April 1944, the transformation was total. On April 8th, 800 bombers struck Berlin, escorted by 700 fighters, mostly P-51Bs and P-51Cs, with Malcolm hoods for better visibility. Not one bomber lost to enemy aircraft. German fighters rose to challenge and were slaughtered. The 357th Fighter Group claimed 56 kills in a single mission. Luftwaffe fighter strength collapsed. From 1,200 operational aircraft in January, only 500 remained combat-ready by May. Pilot training had dropped to 50 hours total, barely enough to take off and land, let alone fight. Fuel shortages grounded entire Gruppen for days. Spare parts vanished. The P-51 became the symbol of American air power. Pilots painted shark mouths, named their planes Glamorous Glen, Cripes a Mighty, Old Crow, Berlin Express, Hurry Home Honey. Each carried the same Merlin growl that haunted German dreams, the sound of pursuit they could not outrun, the whistle of 650 calibers closing at 440 meters. Post-war, Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring admitted in captivity, "When I saw the first Mustangs over Berlin in March, I knew the war was lost. They flew where they wanted, when they wanted." Adolf Galland, commander of fighter forces, was blunter. The P-51 was the airplane that ended our fighter force. It had the range, the speed, the altitude. And the pilots, they learned to use it like a scalpel, cutting out our heart one staffel at a time. The Mustang did not win the war alone, but it won the sky. From the moment it appeared over Germany in strength, the Luftwaffe's days were numbered. The hunter-free zone became the killing ground. German pilots who survived 1944 carried one memory above all. The first time they looked in their rear-view mirror and saw a silver shape closing fast, sun glinting off its bubble canopy and laminar flow wings, faster than anything they knew, closing the gap with merciless precision, engine note rising like a predator's growl. The hunter had become the hunted. The sky had turned silver.